Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Neglected and Become the Ultimate Red Dragon Emperor of Underworld Season 2 Part 1. Before we start, please go support DK for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Season 2 Start Life 20. Assess and Desist. The next morning Shin woke up feeling warm and cozy. He raised his head and saw 4 of his mates sleeping soundly around him. He was happy. Ryag. I haven't seen you this happy in a while. Shin. Yeah, my life seems to be coming back to me now the right way. Greg. I couldn't be more surprised, but I wanted to bring up something to you. Shin. Lay it on me. Greg. In the world, there is always something keeping nature in balance, but things have tipped where the devil faction and the dragon faction have been raised so much that it caused a disturbance. I'm sure the overworld is experiencing something similar to what I'm feeling. Shin. I'm sure it will be fixed, but here's my question: what do we do about it besides win? I'm sure it's a state of balance that was once achieved before devils put it out of balance, and that chaos became the new balance. Greg. I'm not sure, but it is something I wanted to inform you and to remember to stay on your toes. If the White One killed your foster family, we have no idea if he's weaker or stronger. Shin. Agreed, and since I took one of the pieces of the dividing gear, I feel like my version is stronger. Remember, he and I are different. Greg. Till you figure out why Crom had office power running through him. I believe that if office has a hand in powering them up, we need to make sure our team and allies have the same power or equivalent. Shin. Yay, Dad said the book will change depending on the family, but how do we get it to work for us? Greg. Unclear. How about today you try and figure it out? Shin. As he did that, the girls slowly started waking up. As they looked at him, they smiled and gave him a kiss. Shin. Morning, girls. Girls. Morning. Shin smiles. He sat up and they got comfy around him. Shin. How did you all sleep? Rias. Best sleep I've had in a year. Hancock. Same with me. Irina plus Akari. Pretty much the same. Shin just smiled at all of them. Rias. What's got you in a good mood this morning? Shin. Just to be back here with all of you and to know you're all safe. Akari. Boo-hoo, you know we going to be safe no matter what, you know we aren't weak. Shin. Chuckles. I know. Now Hancock, mind telling me about that statue? Hancock. Light blush. Oh well, you see, after you left we all missed you dearly, so I had it put together so everyone can remember all the good you did for us. Shin. Cute. Gives peck. Now girls, today is going to be a weird one. Irina. How come? Shin. I met my birth parents along with my foster parents. They were all shocked to hear this from him. Akari. What did they say? Shin. Nothing really, besides the fact that we have the only book we need, and Ventus wasn't your mother's family name, it's her affinity that you have. I'm Pyrus, then we have Light Darkness, Aqua and Terra. Your father had the Terra affinity. Akari. I see, but that doesn't explain what that book has to do with anything. Shin. My dear, it's the only book that changes elements based on whatever it needs to change it. Rias. If that's the case, how do you change it? You mentioned 6 elements, how do you know if it changed? Shin. That's the plan for today. Then I think we can also deal with the whole reason we came back to Amazon Lily. Hancock. I meant to ask, what are you looking for? Shin. I think it's below the statue in the center of town. The paintings depict something at the center of the volcano. He showed her the pictures and they were all confused. Hancock. Well, go ahead, it'll have my people move the statue so we can work. Shin. Great, that makes life easier. Akari and I will deal with the book to turn our stray devils into monarchs. Irina. What about me? What can I do? Shin. Relax with everyone, but then again you have the light affinity now, so I suppose that maybe you saw the spell for light affinity. Irina. Okay, then I'll be around if you need me. It's an island, we not going anywhere, and it's not like we can go anywhere right now. Shin. Alright, let's go and get sorted for the day. Shin and Akari quickly got up and went to go deal with the Book of Elements, and the others went with Hancock and started getting things ready for the move. The rest of the group came to see what they doing. Azazel. Hey everyone, what's going on? Why are you moving the statue? Hancock. There's something below the land we walk for Shin and Akari to find, so we are moving this out of the way, so when they come and do their work it's not in the way. Surzix. Fair, but here's another question, where are they? Rias. Oh, I can answer that. They are busy trying to figure out how to see the other elements of their book to turn us into monarchs like Irina. Bekeno. How about we decide which element we wish to join? Irina. Oh, that's simple, there are various roles for each faction, so you might not be able to pick till you see what is available to you. I think that's how it works. Kaneko. What do you mean? Irina. When they show you the book you can't read anything but the options that would be suited to you. There were 3 options for me, and being a light monarch was one of them. The other was something called a starlight knight, and the third option was called a bringer of light. Only when I picked the monarch of light was I told what they do, which is a guide people to their destiny with the bonus of some of the most powerful light magic I've ever seen or used. Best you could do right now is pick your element and hope there's something for you. Saji. I think I'm going to pick darkness. Sona. That suits you, but here's my question, do you have to submit to the leader of that element? Irina. No, it is the basic powers and abilities that are given to the followers of the Dragon Clan. Think of it like they are the source, and we are blessed with the abilities from it, and it stems down. Surziches. If that's how it runs, then it would be weird, don't you think, just having freedom, mostly, but then we pretty much need to follow Shin into battle when he needs us. Irina. Pretty much, but I do think you get training from said user. Shin has an off chance of being able to use fire and water, which in turn leads to ice. Both Sirafal and Sona looked at each other and then back at her. Sirafal. If that's the case, I suppose I won't lose most of my abilities. Sona. Same. Rafia. As have I. Surzix. It's weird when you think about it, this power of destruction isn't fire or darkness. Rias. Irina, you got to pick light because when you had the Excalibur mimic you were able to channel light at that point, right? Irina. Yes. Rias. Then I guess it works as if you had an affinity for light, it showed you light options, so even if we do pick, then it would still show us what would be best for us. Irina. Not sure, I'm still on catch, so are they. When I was taken in there was no plan to my knowledge. Shin is taking the punches as they come. Surziches. Then it's settled, when they figure it out then we can pick. Sona. Suppose there isn't any other choice. Devil's interesting. They all froze and saw 4 people that scared them. But Shin a few minutes earlier. Shin. Okay, now how are we going to deal with this? He placed the book down, and again he could read the different things he could create, but it wasn't toward him or Akari, it was more in a general sense. Akari. What do you think? I mean, there's a monarch again, thought it was just monarchs alone, not a whole army of beings, but it's not too light, Ventus or Pyrrhus. Shin. Perhaps it needs to be charged with our energy. He touched the book and indeed it changed from green accents to red ones, and this time a fire symbol appeared on the cover. Shin. It worked. Akari. It looks like new, maybe that did do something. He opened the book and to his surprise, it was more information on the hiatus and how the Pyrrhus affinity works similarly to Ventus. Shin. For what it's worth, I think I got it. Akari. Then let's test that theory. She touched the book and let her power flow into the book, and it changed again. This time the Ventus book looked new and looked like it was in better condition, and the symbol appeared showing the change of the affinity and element. Akari. You think this could be how we could change the element, but here's what's confusing. I made Irina light monarch, if I'm wind then how the hell did I get that right? Shin. I was thinking about it now, do you think that any of us can use this book and make the other elements happen through our abilities? Akari. Not sure, this is a first, and this is pretty advanced magic too, I'm just getting used to basic magic. Shin. Then look at it like this, the book reacts to our powers and affinity, giving us the backstory to both the element or affinity and the main family that mastered it. Akari. Okay, if that's the case and you believe that we can use our other parents' abilities, then you think we could look into the other families, but we still missing 2 out of the 6. Shin. That's what I'm worried about. Just then a feeling of strong energy appeared on the island, and Shin blood ran cold. Akari felt the uneasiness coming from the energy they felt. He grabbed her and the book, then bolted down to the others, getting ready to kill anyone that dared step foot on the island. As he reached them, he saw them just talking to a group of 4 people where he traced the energy to. Hancock. Well, here he is. He looked at her confused, and then the 4 were 3 girls and 1 older man. They walked closer, and the old man spoke first. Laughing, he is Kendrick's son, bring it in brat and greet your uncle. Everyone. Huh. Laughing, oh boy, I guess you haven't found anything like that yet, but I doubt you would. Corvo Haidu grins, dragon of darkness. He spread his power around the whole island, and Shin countered it, both of them using Zetan to try and push their auras around the whole island. Everyone felt the uneasiness and dread coming from the 2, even Surzich's Serafal and Azazel could feel the difference in power, if anything they were weak compared to them. Shin remembered what his father told him and stopped holding back, and his aura spread around everyone, turning everything red. They watched as Corvo tried to spread his aura, but he could hardly spread it around himself. Shin, serious, you better watch your tongue speaking about my family. Corvo. Indeed, I am your family, brat, and so is the blondie over here now. Then if you drop your aura and Zetan, then maybe you can let me explain your little shit. Shin. Drawing it back, fine. Sayuri. How did he get this strong, old man? Corvo. Like I told you girls, a king will always outpower the rest of his family, like I outpowered all of you he outpowered me shows he's the true king of the dragon clan, now what did I tell you to do? They all blushed and started pouting then they all stood next to him and the four kneeled bowing their heads. All four. Greetings Dragon King, it's a pleasure to meet you. The mood was weird and no one knew what to think. Shin. That's great and all but who the hell are you guys? Corvo. Like I said brats your uncle Kendrick and I are fraternal twins, he took after father and I took after mother hence the power difference. Minami. Minami Fuyuki I have an aqua affinity your mother and mine were cousins. Mira. Mira Zephyr I have the Terra affinity I'm Icarus's cousin. Sayuri. Sayuri Aquino I have a light affinity I don't have a relation to you guys besides the fact I'm the light dragon. Corvo. And that's it. Shin. How did you guys survive? Our guardians died thinking we were the last. Corvo. It happened 18 years ago kid we were in the middle of the mating season our weakest season, but let me start with this, see each of you little shits is roughly the same age Shin 18. Bakari Minami Mira and Sayuri are all turning 17 this year now, then when each of you was born, you are examined to see who gained the gene to be the next king, it's a special gene that removes your limiters on your powers, which makes you dangerous, it's normally seen and picked upon birth, and only one can have it. So when Shin was born we already knew he was going to be the king, and one of the girls that came next would be his wife, now then the night of the attack we didn't see it coming. Flashback. With Kendrick and Corvo sitting at a table busy eating food. Corvo. Shin seems to get along well with Akari. Kendrick. Indeed but now we waiting on you to bring a child into the world you're the only one without a successor to the affinity. Corvo. I know but with the tensions rising between us and the devils are troublesome, in recent times they have gathered all 72 of their pillars including Renus's family. Kendrick. Our deal only applied to her great-great-great-great-granddaughter, if she has one else it's a simple alliance where the current family joins our family and forsakes their devil abilities to become our monarchs. Corvo. Indeed that deal should still deal with it, I've checked her granddaughter has been born recently too around the same time as the girls. Kendrick. Then Renus decided when I'm not forcing the matter because it's not something we need to worry about now and plus we dragons they can't hurt us even if they tried. Corvo. Still I don't like living like this worried for the young and my family. Kendrick. PSHHH I'll kick their ass. Just then a veil went over the whole kingdom and within seconds Kendrick, Corvo, Vincent, Kayako, Ava and Sora all came out and got ready to fight. They defended the land, but something changed there was an evil dragon that started attacking them, Kendrick forced Kayako and Sora back to get Shin out of there to protect them. Corvo. Brother I'll try and get the others out of here to make sure they live. Kendrick. Go for it I'm not making it out of here I just lost the others' traces, we the only ones left go ill distract that son of a hitch. He nodded and found each of the girls either under burnt rubble or about to be attacked, he used his shadows to move and take them without getting hurt, and as he left, he heard Kendrick's last roar before he was killed. Corvo looked down at the little girls, and he took them to a safe place in the underworld. Once there he attempted to heal the girls, it was a slow and gradual process, but soon they were okay, but still sad he proceeded to train them in fighting and using their powers, the way they were meant to be granted it was difficult without the book. Flashback end. Corvo. I didn't have that book that could have helped them, to be fair looking at Akari, they are possibly weaker than her now, because you've been training her. Shin. Yeah how long have you guys been on the move? Minami. About 6 months we saw your photos in the newspapers, we knew to come find you guys didn't expect you to be chummy with one of the world's most dangerous yet most beautiful women this side of the underworld. Shin. Yeah she's my princess. Hancock started smiling and blushing and swaying side to side. Shin. Anyways Corvo how far along are they then? Corvo. Basic fighting, I'm old now I don't have much in me to keep fighting. Mira. He's right in the past year he's been getting slower and slower, we even teased him about needing to have a child, yet Hess still being too stubborn, isn't that right old man? Corvo. Don't call me that I just need a successor to pass down my alibis to it's better for me I've long past needing mating season anymore. Arena. Sir I could heal you to at least make you more comfortable. He looked at her and he started screaming in fear. Corvo. How are there two Akaris? Shin. Uncle, she's one of my mates and trust me I know what you thinking. Sayuri. Seems like she's one of my followers, but I don't know what I'm doing with my light yet. Shin. Okay look here's the thing, I kinda figured out the book to allow us to turn those around us into not just monarchs for each affinity, but more beings to be part of the army, but I don't know how to see what I can turn them into. Corvo. The book shows them what is suited to them, not what we think is suited for them. Shin. I had a feeling. Corvo. You have a lot to learn boy watch, as a master of an affinity does it. He looked at Kiba and Saji and grabbed Saji. Saji. Hey wait, why me? Porvo. You have a dragon of darkness, brat, you'll make the perfect example. He chucked Saji in the middle of the group and then let his shadow surround Saji. Saji. What the hell, man, you could have just asked me to move. He tried walking but couldn't get out. Saji. Panicked, hey wait, let me go. He tried hitting on the barrier but couldn't make it move. Porvo. This isn't a pleasant procedure, but you are an interesting one, a poison dragon, very interesting. Sona. Hey, let him go. Porvo. I don't think I will, but let's remove that limitation. Oh, he's going to need that. I suppose I'll give him access to Zetan as well. Now then that you are going to be my replacement after I'm done training you, I'm going to give you a large energy limited too. Saji. Huh. Shin. I'm the same, huh? Porvo. I'm editing his everything, making him the perfect suitor to replace me. Shin. How? Porvo. Think of it as creating a game character, removing the weaknesses and leveling them up. Now watch, from the depths of the void. His shadows started spreading around Saji and he could feel something dangerous coming towards him. And the others could only watch with concerned faces. Porvo. A creature of darkness, a monster of the shadows. Bring forth the power of darkness, cover the world in your shadow, and be reborn as a shadow dragon. As he finished the chant, the shadows started running up Saji's body and he started screaming in pain. They watched as his body was being torn apart and then slowly being put back together. Sona covered her face, not wanting to see him being hurt like this. When it was finished, they could feel a whole different power coming from Saji. As the shadows dissipated and he was covered in his new scales and horns, he was bigger too. Sage. Catching breath, whoa, this feels amazing. Baritra. Indeed, we have been reborn better than before, laughs. Azazel. He even rebuilt Varitra the Dragon King. Porvo. Indeed I did, couldn't have my successor being limited by anything, and I killed off his devil side and human side, making him fully a dragon. Shin. Yeah, his power is off the charts from before he's made a change. Sona walked to him with a worried look. Sona. You okay? He didn't say anything and just grabbed her and brought her into a kiss, and all she could do was blush, making her peerage giggle at her. Seraphol. He, oh my, how bold. Surziches. Question, is there a way to not make it work? I don't want my child to suffer. Porvo. Looked at him and smiled. Porvo. Indeed, the chants don't hurt children, in fact does the opposite and makes them laugh. Brafia. Good. She started snuggling him and he giggled. Shin. Okay, who wants to go next while we are at it? He looked and saw Akeno and Rias walk towards him. Rias. I trust you, I don't mind getting hurt if it means I can be with you. Akeno. I'm the same, don't forget I claimed I'd be your second wife, smiles, but even being a fifth wouldn't be too bad, smiles. Shin. You still on that, huh? She smiled and nodded. Shin. We can deal with it later, and Akari, Irina, don't you say a thing, you three as well, I can see you smiling. The others looked and they saw Akari, Irina, Minami, Sayuri and Mira giggling at him. Hancock. So another woman has entered the battlefield. Irina. I wouldn't think battlefield though. Hancock. Still, I'm watching her. Shin. Okay then, let's see what would be best sorted for you all. He brought out the book and this time it was red with a pyra symbol on it. He opened the book and let them see and pick. Rias. I can pick between a flame empress, a fire mage, and a flame knight. I think I like the flame empress one. Akeno. Interesting, it looks like I'm going to be a wind user like Akari. I only have the option to become a wind monarch. Akari. Ride him up them. Shin. Let me go first, let's see if I can do this. Arise from the ashes, feel the fire in your bones, become an empress of the flame, and burn your enemies for you, king. Fire spread around her and she screamed in pain as her body was changing. They watched as her evil piece was forced out of her and her devil power was expelled from her body, and once it was done she was on her knees with smoke coming off her body. Shin. You okay? Rias. Tired? Yeah, I'm just tired, I think I need to rest, that took more out of me than I thought. He nodded and helped her up. Shin. Akari. Akari. Wind monarch, huh? Feel the breeze under your wings, the feeling of freedom as the wind carries you towards the battle and becomes a body of wind that carries a hurricane. As she finished the chant, the tornado swirled around her and she started giggling from the pain while her devil and fallen side were removed from her body. Shin. Sweatdrop, I forgot she's like this. Porvo. Interesting selection of mates, Shin. Shin. Sweatdrop, right. When the transformation was done she looked different, her hair was slightly lighter but still kept its natural flow. Shin. Yup, she's a wind user alright, let's see where the rest of you are. Sayuri. So I have my monarch already. Irina. That's right, smiles. Porvo. Only the best suited person can be a monarch, it has nothing to do with their power level or something like that, it has to do with the person. Shin. Then let's move on. He did the rest of the Gremory family along with Kiba, and they all became Pyrus members, which gets categorized as fighters, archers, and tanks. Surzich's on the other hand was Shin's Flame Monarch, and Kiba became a Pyrus Black Knight. But Gaspar, Momo, Tomo and Azazel becoming Ventus members. Gaspar, Momo and Tomo became Ventus members, and Azazel was made a Ventus Monarch. But Sona, Seraphol and Graphia, they joined Aqua, and both Seraphol and Graphia became Ice Queens, while Sona was made the Aqua Monarch. Then Roswis and Zenobia joined Light. Zenobia became a Light Slayer, and Roswis became a role called Starlight. Then finally Kaneko was added to the Terra Affinity, and she was made a member. And Saji joined the Darkness Affinity. Shin. Right, so let me get this right, members are general fighters, take on roles such as archers and scouts. The Kari. Seems like it, and then Slayers are the tanks of the elements, stronger than being a member sure but more capable. Minami. And then we get our special ones like my Ice Queens, Shin's Black Knight, Sayori's Starlight. Sayori. Okay, then what the hell are these? They look like generals. Oh wait, those are the monarchs, so they are our generals then. Mira plopped herself over Shin's head and pointed at one that made them all look confused. All. Confused? What the hell is that monster? They were like children reading a comic book for the first time while the others watched them. Corvo. Disappointed everyone. I give you the Savers of the Underworld. Surzix. I suppose it couldn't be that bad, can it? Corvo. No, it just makes me worry again. They are all just like their parents. Rias. So what do we do from now on? I mean, it's weird thinking neither of us are devil or a fallen angel. Azazel. I don't care if this forfeited my rank as a fallen angel, but now I'm a general of a whole affinity. I wonder what we can do. Corvo. Here's my next worry. My successor isn't going to be a problem. I'll train him, but you guys need to rely on them to help you with your affinity. Seraphol. I see your concern, but I mean, how bad can it be? Corvo. Shin needs to train them more to train you. Surzich's. Sweatdrop. This is going to be a long war, one can see it. Sona. Well, I suppose to go with the flow, don't you think? In the overworld. Since the arrival of new monarchs and all the dragon family heads are together again, nature has changed drastically again. Something that hasn't happened in 18 years is starting again. Everywhere on every news feed it was all the same reports of a massive storm that would cover the whole world for 9 days, would soon happen again. Hadis. It last happened when we were born. Akea. I wonder what is going on though since Issei left, and then soon after Rias and the others graduated. Things have been weird. I mean, even with Sona gone, things have been weird, don't you think? Myrima. Yeah, well, I can only hope it all turns out okay. In the underworld. Ajuka. You see these things, Surzich's and Seraphol help these people, bring these people back into power. I need your support to help us take them down and restore balance to the underworld. In the background. Aiko. Don't you think Hess milking it a bit too hard? Bali came into the light with an eye patch covering his right eye. Bali. Not in particular, they don't have enough forces to deal with this many devils, and I'm sure Heaven's Gate is staying out of it, so are the gods and fallen. Haruka. Don't be mistaken, we don't know that for sure. Vali. Lefei. Suo, what are we doing after this? She swung her legs back and forth looking at Vali with a smile on her face. Vali. Kill the son of a hitch, that much ill make happen. He walked away while the rest of his team looked at him concerned. Aiko. I know him thinking it right. Haruka. Yea, his grandfather has plagued his mind and changed his sense of judgment. I don't know if you noticed, but none of the other 72 pillars are really reacting, yet most notably the Bale family. He had a relation to the Gremory family, so Hess conflicted as of right now, go against a family or stand for what right. Aiko. But sir, with everything going on, is trying to get this many people together a good idea? This could backfire. The old man grabbed him by his neck and brought him close. Don't question my plan, you will only survive because I let you, okay, not because I enjoy your company or this group's company, so keep it shut and wait for your next orders. He threw him aside and walked away. Aiko. I think we need to come to a decision before something we don't want happening happen. They all nodded. Akadama's on Lily. Shin. Alright, so this is the next step of the plan so far. Bakari. Are you sure you would survive going that deep down into the lava? Surzix, she's right. Shin, how do we know that it's still even there? Shin. Hope is why, now wait here. He dived into the hole, hit the lava and went swimming. Corvo. They have the scroll with them already. Now if what I think is down there, then it might just be possible. Brother, you have one hell of a kid, makes me jealous. I don't have my own, but I'll guide this one best I can. Life 21. The last clue. As Shin dived into the dead volcano, he fell for a bit and then hit some leftover lava in the dormant volcano. Shin. Weird that I can see so well though. He looked at his hands and saw he was covered in a dense layer of scales surrounding his body. Greg. Well, fire dragons are known to live in volcanoes and swim in lava like water, so get used to it. Shin. Noted. Now then, what I'm looking for. He looked around the orange area where he was and looked for anything, symbols, books, items, anything possible to help him. He even moved rocks to see if anything was left underneath it. After 3 hours of swimming, he found nothing. He sat in the lava and decided just to try and relax. Maybe he's missing something. Shin. Come on, I know they wouldn't have just left it like that and made me dive into the volcano for nothing. He landed at the bottom and stood looking up, trying to see if there was anything on the roof of the volcano. Shin. Nope, nothing. As he started to put more pressure on his feet to jump straight up, but the ground collapsed underneath him and the whole floor caved in and pulled him down as all the lava started rushing below. He tried swimming up but felt the pressure change and then just let the lava take him. As he fell down deeper into the volcano, he stuck his head out of the lava fall and saw massive columns holding up the whole structure. Shin. What the hell? He pulled himself out of the lava fall and looked around and saw multiple markings from the dragon clan littering the walls of the cavern, showing the pirates' affinity to be in this area. Shin. Looks like they left a lot for us then. He carried on going lower and lower till he found a massive cavern under the island with a pedestal of a Pyrus emblem, Ventus emblem, Aqua emblem, Light emblem, Terra emblem and Darkness emblem. He walked around it looking for any other clues and he didn't find any but the pedestal in the center. Shin. Well, here goes nothing. He placed his hand over it and it was like everything hit him all at once and he could see the generation line of his Pyrus heritage. Flashback 1000 years. Shin found himself walking around a small village treating an injured dragon. It was massive and different from Great Red, but it was clear this was his family. The brown hair and golden eyes said it all. He watched as they nursed the dragon back to health and it blessed them with a bit of its power and lived with them. Then when the dragon died a few years later, the people who treated it were blessed with the rest of its power and soon became the Pyrus clan, or better known as the Hiatus. He saw a leader take one of the skeleton's teeth of the and raise it into the air, and that was the start of the dragon clan. It jumped forward with different scenes of the village where they started becoming more plentiful and rich, then the other families slowly started growing, adapting to the other elements and keeping general peace within the elemental range. They were the source of most of the elemental power and kept it that way. He saw many devils powerless and unable to use magic like they can now. The angles and fallen angles were much stronger than the devils. They were the weakest. He saw many times where the devils tried to take advantage, trying to look stronger, but the dragon clan didn't let them have the time of day. He saw Uranus make her appearance in her younger days, and to his surprise, his grandfather took a good liking to her. She was different from the rest of the devils. He saw as God with his angels. He saw young Azazel and Michael visit them, and even the current devil leaders and even the old fallen angle leaders. He watched as war broke out against them, and the dragon clan won and showed them who is the truly powerful ones, and allied with the fallen and angels. But devils didn't come around angry with the loss. The old Stan faction had their numbers were low. He watched as they lived in relative peace and watched his father, mother and uncle come into play with who he assumed were the others' parents and how they acted, realizing how old they were before they decided to have kids a good few years. Shin. Makes sense for Uncle Corvo's old age. That means mom and dad would have been super old at this point. He watched as time went forward, seeing how their elemental powers grew as they did and slowly became stronger than their parents, and watched as his grandparents died, then saw how his father came into power with that overwhelming power, strength and tenacity, almost a mirror reflection to him now, but his father's arrogance was clear. He watched as Akari, Minami, Sayuri, Mira and himself came about and how they grew up and watched them play around, then saw how he and Akari were always super close since birth, then the death of everyone came along and how the land that they lived on for so long begun to sink and the top of the volcano where he entered was at the top of the massive land they lived on. As he pulled his hand away and looked around and saw there was another spot where he could place his hand. He placed his hand and then saw people dressed in robes and started taking the artwork, tools and belongings of the dragon clan, even though they were devils, and claiming to be the new dragon clan. Under the rule of the devils, he saw as they used items from the dragon clan to bless other devils, to make them stronger in terms of magic power, making them a force to reckon with, and in his process their names stuck to this side of the underworld where they kept their fake power to themselves and kidnapped people and turned them into slaves and hex workers. Whether they were kids or not, no one was safe from their reign. He watched as they used a symbol similar to his dragon clan marking to make a claw where they branded the slaves to show they are the celestial dragon's property. Shin. Celestial dragons, huh, let's go visit them. Greg. Show them what true dragons are. He nodded, but as he took his hand away the whole area started shaking and the room around him started to concave and enclose him. He saw a single exit that was taking him to the ocean. He took a deep breath, ran towards the water and dived into the ocean. Upside It had been about 9 hours since Shin dived into the volcano, and the others decided to wait for him to come back before even trying their new powers besides Saji, who had Corvo breaking him. Saji was visibly tired, but he was forced to carry on fighting. Saji. Oh, come on, why can't I relax like the others? Corvo. You can relax when I say you can be my replacement, shithead. I can't have you weak like those 3 brats that came with me. All 3. Hey, we aren't brats. Corvo. That's what you took out of it. Akari is the only one who is close enough to help Shin with the Dragon Clan, the rest of you might as well be civilians. Surziches. Does that book help that much? Corvo. Yes, it gives the reader everything they need to know in terms of fighting styles, power output spells, evolutions, new powers, roles, and everything you can think of relating to the affinity. Rias. Then it makes sense as to why you couldn't help them much. Hancock. Agreed, I'd think you being one on their parental line would know something. Corvo. Nope, now then watch me beat this brat, it's how Shin is going to break you all, grins. All? Huh. That line didn't sit well with them, knowing how strong he is now made them shiver at the thought. Saji got up and tried to attack him, but then was sucked into the ground and then fell through an infinite shadow portal. Saji. Getting sick, I'm going to be sick. Speed kept increasing between the 2 portals, and Corvo didn't look like he was going to let him go anytime soon. Sona began to get worried for him. Sona. Is it safe for him to be moving that fast? Corvo. Watch, Step 1 Elemental teleporting. Each element has its own variant of teleporting. We use the shadow darkness as our friend. Shin can turn into ash, Akari can turn into wind literally, or fog or smoke depending on the environment, Sayuri can flash around with light, Minami can turn into water vapor, and Mira can turn into dust. You all have this ability one way or another. Saji. Getting sick, then what do I need to do? Corvo. You're a true dragon now and you know how to use your old dragon abilities, right? Saji. Getting sick, yay. Corvo. Then you know what to do, relax your mind, focus on the closest shadow and pull yourself towards it. Saji. Getting sick, he'll try. The others watched as he kept falling, then soon his falling disagreed and he was behind them throwing up. Corvo. Good, you learning now, then attack me using that new skill you just learned. Saji. Wiping vomit, I'll end you now, old man. He dissipated into shadows and appeared next to him and tried to hit Corvo, but his fist went through his body, and then Corvo solidified his body, causing Saji's arm to get stuck in his abdomen. Corvo. Step 2 We live off stealth, use it or die. Shadows are your tools, each affinity is different, now show me what you can do. Corvo dissipated into shadows and then appeared behind Saji and was going to strike him, and to their surprise, it went through his body. Saji. Sigh of relief, thank God that worked. Saji and Corvo kept disappearing and reappearing each time using different attacks that they mimicked from each other. Then Corvo did something that shocked all of them. He froze him in place and hit him a few times, then as he released him Saji went flying, then he met Saji before he landed and caught him. Corvo. Well done, brat, you're smart and fast on your feet. Saji. Thanks, but what the hell was that? I'm moving 1 second, then the next I'm frozen in place and can't move, talk, react, nothing but breath, then I didn't even feel you touch me till you let me go. Corvo. Secret techniques, I'll teach them to you soon. For now, when Shin comes back, we can resume with this current training till everything I showed you, poison, shadow, all of it. Once you mastered it, then you can move on to secret techniques. Saji. Works for me. Corvo dropped him and he collapsed on the ground. Saji. What the heck, why can't I move? Corvo. The last thing before secret techniques, paralysis, I only gave you 2 minutes. Saji. Someone help me up at least, please. Sona and Serafel came to help him up, then the ground started shaking, and they all looked around. Even all the women on the island came running to see what was going on and to make sure Hancock and her sisters were alright. Surziches. I think Shin did something. Azazel. I think so too. They moved to the spot where he dived in, but there was nothing, the hole was still just there. Hancock. Weird, he's still down there. Woman. Empress, the island is growing. All of them were shocked to hear the island was growing. They ran to the nearest beach and saw how high up they were. And how much land was uncovered. Dead trees. As soon as they left, the water started growing more and more. Destroyed homes started coming out of the water. Then what surprised them most was the massive dragon skeleton coming out from the center of the volcano and perched over all of them, looking down at the land below. After 10 minutes the shaking stopped and they soon heard Corvo's laughing in excitement. They looked to the side and saw him sitting laughing so much he started crying. Corvo. Laughing, I don't believe it. Surziches. Don't believe what? Corvo stopped laughing within seconds and looked at all of them. Corvo. Hey, Arunus and Azazel should remember this land. Smiles. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. God was still alive when you all last stepped foot on the Dragon Clan's main territory. Sharp grin. All? What? Arunus. But this place has been here for so long, how? They heard something come up from the volcano and saw the pedicle come up and make a projection of the whole island. Hancock. This is almost 500% times the landmass we had. I don't think we can protect it all. You're not meant to. They looked up and saw Shin gently falling towards them with his wings out. They looked down, then back up confused to how he was now in the air. Shin. The secret tunnel leading out the whole cesium below started to crumble, so I had no choice. So uncle, how is it being home? Corvo. Great, better than I can imagine. Race. Shin, how big is this land? Shin. I saw some memories of our ancestors, I believe 44.58 million square kilometers, it's as big as the whole continent of Asia in the overworld. Surziches. Then you have more land mass than the devil faction has currently. You might need to set up some guards willing to fight the fight. I don't think it's going to be long before they realize this massive land mass. They all looked concerned. Shin. Dragons, come to the pedestal and place your hands. They all did, but Corvo forced Saji to go. Saji. Old man, I swear, use your words and I'll hear you out. Corvo. Nah, in my old age this is more fun. Saji just sighed deeply and then walked forward. Shin. Hess, right, you're the new dragon of darkness, you need to start taking the role now. Saji nodded and came closer. Sayori. So what now, Shin? Mira. I think I can answer that one. He placed her hand on the pedestal, then the symbol of Terra appeared. Minami. Oh, I get it now. She placed her hand on it, then Sayori did, and then both symbols for Aqua and Light appeared. Then Saji, Shin and Akari placed their hands and their symbols added to the roster, and a new symbol was made where the element spun around, creating a veil from the top of the volcano and then slowly spread around the whole continent. Shin. Now then, I don't think they will find us no matter how big we are. They were all amazed by how much magic was around them, and it was at a level neither faction could possibly generate on their own. Azazel. This is incredible magic. Raphia. It's stronger than anything I've ever made. Then Alana. Shin, dear, you look troubled, is something wrong? Shin. Yeah, it's a private matter. I want to talk to Hancock, Marigold and Sarasota first before I bring it up with you guys. They all looked confused, but he walked in motion for Hancock and her sisters to follow. Hancock. My love, what's wrong? Shin. I first want you all to take a deep breath and promise to hear me out. They did as he asked and then he spoke. Shin. I need your help to get to Celestial Dragon territory. They have items that belong to the Dragon clan. All three. What? This made the others all look at them in the distance, then he motioned to them to keep hush. Shin. Look, I know it's a lot to ask, but I promise this isn't what you think it's going to be like. We taking over their land. They devils that claim to be the Dragon clan, they don't have any power they claim to have. I know you three, and lots of others had it rough with them, but I promise to make sure that the man that hurt you 3 lives, so you can get the payback you want as a future husband and brother, it'll make sure your past never comes back to you. Do I have your support? He could see it in their eyes. It was an emotional subject for them. Tears welled up in their eyes. He could see the frustration on their faces. Hancock. Can you promise us that nothing bad will happen? Shin. 100%, you have my word, plus I don't need weaklings tarnishing my clan name any longer. Now come to give me a hug, it's going to be alright. They nodded and came to hug them, then slowly came back to the group who were worried after seeing their faces. Irina. Everything okay? Shin nodded before he spoke, making them all look at him. Shin. Okay, here is our next plan of action. I'm taking 3 people with me to deal with a group called Celestial Dragons. Surziches. Oh yay, forgot about them, I haven't thought about them in a long time. Azazel. Now that you mention it, isn't that the same group claiming to be the Dragon clan under the Devil's rule? Shin. Yes, now then they have items that belong to us and we going to get them back and kill them all off. Saji. Worried kids included. Shin. I don't know, look, I don't need someone, something, or anything coming back to try and wipe us out again, plus they deserve it. They take innocent people and enslave them to be hex slaves or workers. They take children, they do it all no matter the age. They want transportation, they will ride on the back of an old man and beat him when he can't move, and other thing made its way too personal for me now, girls. Hancock, Marigold and Sarasota turned their backs and showed the mark on their backs. Shin. Each slave no matter the age receives this mark. Now I want payback, so when I ask again, are we going to take over that territory and make the innocent people the real members of the real Dragon clan where they can live happily, or? Surziches. No, I'm with you, they going to regret their decisions. Shin. Now then girls, you can cover your backs, it's kind of chilly, I don't want you getting sick. They turned around and saw the smiles on their faces with tears running the other girls, and women went to them to comfort them. Shin. Now then Zetches, who was the leader last you were informed? Surziches. I remember brushing past this document, I think his name is Doflamingo or something. Shin. Great, we leave in 3 days uncle, how far is Saji? Corvo. The transfer of most of my power source is done. It'll slowly become weaker and then soon pass on, but give it a day and he should be able to handle things like you are so smart. Shin. Great, but question, how long do you still have? I have questions I want to ask about our family. Corvo. I'm old, I'll probably live about another 90 years before I die. Chuckles. Shin. Given our lifetime, that's more than enough time. Now then, I think Surziches and Azazel and Saji will come with me. I want to see how some monarchs work. Irina. What about us? She gestured to her and Sona. Shin. I need generals here and a group that is familiar with management and fighting here to start getting some of the villages set up. Corvo. I haven't seen any links around the island yet. I think they took the gem that powers it. If you find it, make sure it doesn't break. It would open up some serious transportation portals to each area of the island, but first make sure all the frames are clear of anything. They nodded in agreement. Rias. Go for it. Hancock. We can come when you've taken over everything. Shin. Works for me. Maritaled. Brother, here is the map of this side of the underworld. You need to go past this island called Whole Cake Island. The next location after it is where they all stay, the Holy Land Marigio. Shin. Great, now then Zeches, Azazel, Saji, let's go prep and get you three up to speed. Sayuri. What about us? He looked at them. He could see the others really wanted to help them with this, and he knew what it was like to feel useless. Shin. Explore this country for me, see what you can uncover and find and mark them as points of interest for us. I'm sure we're going to make a stop at Whole Cake. If there's people we can rally with us to help, then I'll send them your way. Make a bigger civilization in here and grow our forces. He brought out the book for them and gave it to them, and they were taken back by how heavy it is. Shin. Uncle, I'm leaving you in charge of the island while I'm gone. Can I trust you with managing things with Hancock's help? Corvo. Sure, I can do that. Shin, you can leave it to me. Shin. Great, now then let's get going. Life 22. Embarkment. After preparing, Shin, Surziches and Saji got on a boat and decided to leave early. The group watched them leave the island. They set the coordinates and left. Shin used his fire to push them further, leaving them on the island. Once they caught current, they all started to relax on the large ship given to them. Azazel. Now that we are away from the island, Shin, I hate to say it, but I don't trust your uncle and other cousins. Surzix. Right, I had the same worries when they just happened to arrive, and it just doesn't seem right, like we missing something. Shin sighed and looked at them. Shin. I know, why do you think I left most of the people I do trust with them? The three girls don't have enough power to really outpower anyone, and my uncle is really old, and he did give most of his power to Saji. There's this thing since I took the title as king, where I can see the strength of my followers. They really are telling the truth as far as I can tell, but I did tell father to watch, and same was with Serafal and mother, and Hancock. Saji. Fair, this whole situation is kinda buck, don't you think? Shin nodded. Shin. Yeah, but look, I'll trust them because all of them have proved to be trusted, but time will tell till I fully trust them. Surzix. I know we building your trust back and all, and I don't blame you if you don't trust us fully still after what we did, but I'm your monarch, it's my job to keep you on your toes now. Shin. How the tables have turned, but yeah, I agree with you guys, let's see what happens, but for now let's enjoy the journey. Saji. You're too laid back now, you know that. Azazel. Right, but here's a question for you, Shin, the angels and fallen, what are you going to do if they side with your clan? Shin. You've seen how big that landmass is. I'll give the fallen a place on the island and probably have the whole faction turn into the Ventus army. Surzix. The Angles. Shin. Let them pick, they are strong as it is, and the fallen will have something to gain. Heaven Gate have too much on their hands to make a choice like this now, but if they give a few angles, then I'll have them pick. Saji. Hey guys. They looked at him looking over the side of the ship. Shin. What is it? Saji. I think I found food. The massive sea serpent came out of the water and looked at them. Shin. Zex, let's see what you can do, go. Surzix burst forward and kicked the whole thing out of the air and made wings and talons out of fire that looked like it still had his rune power embedded in it and then sliced it into pieces. Shin. Azazel, you up, let's see how you are with precise attacks, get rid of the head and tail and the stomach. Azazel nodded and sent a large gust of wind towards the designated spots and blew them away. Shin. Saji, collect the good meat. Saji nodded and used his shadows to get to Surzix and then used his claws to grab the good meat and then proceeded to bring it back to Shin. Shin. Looks like you guys kept the basics of your old powers. Saji is the only one to have a complete change. Azazel. But this feels more freeing actually. Surziches. Right, I'm far beyond my old limits. They both landed and looked at the fresh fish on the boat. Shin. Well, let's dig in, we got about a day. If we keep up at this pace, two of us should go to sleep and two have a night shift. Saji. I'll take the night shift, night shadows, it's my element. Surziches. Then I'll take the night shift if it's alright with everyone. Azazel. Yay, go for it. Shin. Sure thing guys. They nodded. Then Shin and Surzix cooked some of the meat and then they went to sleep, leaving Azazel and Shin. Azazel. Man, who would have thought? Shin. Thought what? Azazel. Us on the run from the devil faction, getting new powers, everything, it's uplifting. I just wish my father could have seen it. Shin. Well then imagine Michiel and Gabriel seeing you. Now you are on the better side of the coin. Azazel. Yeah, you're right, but it's just weird, you know. Shin. Yeah, I mean I met all my parents the day I killed the devil's elders. Azazel. Yeah, you mentioned that. Learn anything? Shin. Yeah, my mother Mickey cut Volley's eye out. Azazel burst out laughing, not expecting Volley to lose to a middle-aged woman. Azazel. Then I wouldn't be surprised if he holds a grudge against you. Shin. I'll rip his arms off them. They sat in silence for a few minutes listening to the waves crashing around them. Azazel. Hey, can I ask you something? Shin. What is it? He opened his eyes and looked at Azazel, still looking over the edge. Azazel. How can you still trust us after what we did to you? It doesn't feel right to even be by your side. I know the others are grateful to be back by your side again, but we can all agree we don't deserve to be your friends. None of us fought for you, and still you continue to be our friends and ally. Shin took a deep breath and then spoke. Shin. I don't know, a while ago I was 100% done with everything. I had all I needed, Akari was enough, she was my new family, but as we spent more time together, it was apparent I haven't gotten over you guys. You all were something important to me, and the fact that you guys just cut me off and pretty much left me for dead sucked. Yay, but I got over it and grew. It's something I don't need lingering in the back of my head anymore. Azazel. Yeah, we were all miserable after what we did. The Grimory family was hurt the most. You can assume why. Shin. Yeah. Azazel. Then you did some soul searching and now look, you're the king of the Dragon Clan, a group that even God wanted to be allied with because of your strength. Shin. When I think about it, I think I needed this time away from everything actually. Azazel. What makes you say that? Shin. The girls, yeah, I love them, but I still need time to heal myself. Azazel. What's on your mind? Shin. Nothing really, it's more I never had time to really be alone since I was banished. I never got to explore more of myself and abilities, like I was on an island full of women that never interacted with men in their lives, so I was bothered a lot. Then Hancock and I met and we grew close, then after like 6 months I met Akari, then I spent a year with her, then you guys all came back. Not that I'm upset about it, but I feel one of these days I'm going to need to embark on my own journey without others. Azazel. I get what you mean, it's a form of growth, something you need to do on your own and grow by yourself. Shin. Exactly, old man, now you getting it. Azazel. I'm not old, but that reminds me. On the next island close to the Shin. The island is known as Misty Island, the waters are too murky to swim in, and the large creatures in the water thrive in it. Most of the island is covered with tar and oil, with massive skeletons. In a deep cave inside the island, a relic left behind by the Dragon Clan began to glow red and purple and pulse radiating energy. Time skip a few hours. After a few hours of sailing, Shin, Azazel, Surzix and Saji ate together and saw the island, and both Saji and Shin felt the pull towards the island. Shin. Let's go. Surzix. What's there? Saji. It's weird, it's like something is calling us towards the island. Azazel. Bucket, why not go see what's going on? The map calls it Misty Island, and the logbook says don't swim in the water due to the creatures adapting to the blindness in the water so much that no one has been able to swim in the murky water. But on the island itself, there are weird things happening on the island, such as disembodied screams, and on a few occasions the large skeletons left in the tar and oil have come to life and attacked members from getting deeper to the island. Shin. Then let's go see what's going on. They guided the ship towards the island, and Shin and Saji tied a rope to the hull of the ship and flew towards the island, pulling it. Once docked at the island, Shin could see the massive creatures swimming under the water. Shin. Yeah, let's stay out of the water, these things are massive. The others nodded and walked around the island. Saji. The place looks long dead. Shin. But what's here? They looked around and there was nothing but dead bodies of washup creatures and a lot of bones. Azazel. Nothing on the log books. That marker symbol on the pillar over there says it meant to say that's how far anyone has gotten, and those who did were never seen again. Creepy. Surzix. How well, I don't hear anything, not even a heartbeat. Azazel. And the winds are quiet. They waited for Saji or Shin to say something, but when they looked the two were gone. Surzix. Oh come on, we not even here 2 minutes and we lost them. Azazel. Let's fly up, maybe we can see what's going on from the air. Surzix nodded. And they took off into the air. But Shin and Saji, the voice led them to a cave. Nothing on this island went off as red flags for them, and once they reached the cave, the relic was beating rapidly. Shin. What is this? Saji. I don't know, let's touch it. They nodded and did so, and power bled into their systems and they could feel the rush of more energy in their systems. For Shin, something felt different, and for Saji something new running through their bodies. Shin. This is great. Sparks started to shoot off his body and blobs of shadows started to fall off Saji. The two looked at each other, then both nodded and let the combination of the power merging, creating a large explosion, alerting Surziches and Azazel of their position at the center of the island. The two landed and found both Shin and Saji looking at each other. Surzix. Guys, what the hell? Azazel. When did you even leave? Shin. Sorry guys, but this relic just gave us new abilities, I think. Saji. Hess, right, look at this, he used his shadows and they look different, then Shin used his fire and it was sparking. Azazel. It looks like Shin's fire became more volatile and combustible. Surziches. Saj's shadows look like they took to his position, don't you think? Shin. Anyways, let's go, I don't think there's is anything else here for us. They nodded and went back to the boat and set sail again, not realizing that the island's main features started to change and go away and the island slowly crumbled away into nothingness. Back on Dragon Island. Rias and the others were all getting ready to explore the island. Rias. So if this map is correct, if we start here and make an outward circle as our search line, then we should be able to see what's left of the castle. Mini-me. This area looks weird though. She pointed at the hologram of the island and zoomed onto their location. Kiba. Seems like a hot spot. Sona. Then how about we all go check it out and let the elders rest? Corvo. Yes, let this man rest a bit, and I'd be wary of those spots on the map. The creature nests are filled with tameable creatures, only problem is they are dangerous and violent. The dragon girls might be able to handle them in terms of taming, but getting them to comply is a different story. He then walked away. Asper. I thought he was going to tell us how to handle it. Irina. Surprisingly, I was the same. Hancock. How about I have my woman that was on the island already start repairing on what we have and you all go explore some of these locations and see what you can find, maybe you'll find a gate to help us travel around this massive landmass. Bakari. I like that idea, kills two birds with one stone. Sayuri. I think let's deal with this one nest here close by just so we can get a feel for our abilities and also see what we're dealing with. Then Alana. Well, enjoy kids, I'll be helping the woman prepare some food while your father and Gracie attend to Corvo. They nodded and all spit in their separate ways. They followed Akari given she was the best case right now in terms of power use, and Irina followed since Shin trained both of them for a bit. Irina. I wonder what we walking into. The Keno. Hopefully it's not like a stray devil. Mira. What was it like being a devil? The ex-devils looked at her with confused faces. Rias. To be fair, not all that bad, we lived not knowing what our forefathers did so we were never affected, but after learning everything so far, I must say I'm a bit disgusted with my heritage. Bakari. Don't be, you weren't the problem, neither of you was, it was the devils that came way before you. Kaneko. But then again, being by Shin's side was always better. Mini-me. What was he like? Zenobia. What, like being close with him or just him in general? Sayuri. I think generally what you guys get up to in your personal time with him should stay that way. Rias. Well, he motivates me and supports me to be myself and lets me have fun when I spent most of my life trying to be an adult, which led to our love, but other than that point has always been one to make anyone laugh and make sure they are safe. Tiba. Ain't that the truth, dude's been helping us ever since he joined the supernatural world, doing things that would definitely get us killed at the time if we even tried. The Keno. You're right, even guiding us when we strayed off the path we were meant to follow, and even just his encouragement is something I cherish from him. Irina. Hess, my best friend, we grew up together, we've always been together, sure we had a few years away from each other, but when we were on opposite sides and even after I joined him, it was like we picked up right where we left off messing around. Kaneko. He became family to me, he took the place when I longed for it and I love him for that, Hess like my older brother. Beswaisia. Granted, I never spent too much time with Issei. Shin, on the other hand, was always nice and helped me when I was drunk and made sure I was okay. The only memory I have of Issei was when he beat up Odin's son Loki and used Or's hammer. He inspired me to be stronger for those around me. Zenobia. I'm still indebted to him, he gave me a new life twice in a row now, not everyone can do that, Hess always been there for us when we needed it. Sona. She's right, Hess even helped us when we needed it and protected us when we were being attacked by fallen angels, the same ones that tried to kill him when he thought he was just a human too. Momo. Let's not forget when he sings he can change a mood just by singing some notes and it affects people, you guys have an interesting king. Tsubaki. Interesting is an understatement. Bakari. You're right, when he first met me I hit him over the head with a broom and left him bleeding. He didn't hurt me, instead he helped me and even protected me when I was going to be abused beyond recognition. Sure, you've seen his nice side, but his angry side is something I'd hate to be on the bad side of. The group that was abusing me and wanted to make it worse crossed a line, and he left them paralyzed and hurt them slowly in front of each other and then left them for dead in a forest. But after that, you'll see Hess focused and determined, he gets his job done, doesn't half-ass anything, and I'm sure the others can all agree Hess got this aura around him that makes me feel safe, confident, and most of all, it's a feeling that makes you want him to acknowledge your strength. Rias. On the nose, I couldn't have said it better myself, it's probably the same reason Hancock fell for him. Mira. I hope I get to see what you guys were talking about, he sounds great. Mini-me. Yeah, he sounds fun to hang out with. Hess the only family I have after Uncle Corvo dies, so I'd like to get closer to him. Sayuri. You know he doesn't trust us at all yet, right? Bakari. What makes you say that? Sayuri. I know Hess asked you guys to watch us, I mean we literally did just appear randomly, so it's valid, but his trust is something that's going to be damn near impossible to gain. Rias. I'm sure you'll figure it out, I mean we all need to prove ourselves again besides Irina and Akari right now. Irina. She's right, we betrayed him and we all slowly gaining his trust back bit by bit. Mira. Well, let's hope we all get along, then we have a long way to go. They all nodded and reached a massive wall that looked to be made of branches. Honko. Ha, looks like this is the place, smells right. Rias. But now how do we go about this? Bakari. Well, those of us who can fly right now can check above and see what we're working with. She brought out her wings and the others tried and nothing happened. Bakari. Oh yeah, we still need to train you guys a bit. Okay, wait, he ran, let me go and see. Bakeno. Be safe, there's a weird energy coming from this place. She nodded and flew up and they saw a large pot Ryan hit her that she dodged and a large ice bear's head peeked over with bright glowing eyes, massive sharp teeth coming out its mouth, and it was hungry. Bakari landed with the group and they needed to quickly assess the situation they needed to deal with now. Rias. Retreat, we are not ready to handle that, it's bigger than Shin when he first turned into a dragon. They nodded and ran away. Corvo watched as they left and shook his head. Corvo. At least they know they can't handle it now, that bear was Kayako's pet last, I remembered, an S-class beast. If Locke is still here, then that means the others are around, my god, Shin is going to need to come home soon. He turned into a shadow and opened his eyes back at the castle. Zeotix. You okay, Corvo? Corvo. Yeah, I'm okay, just watching the brats. Then Alana. Interesting, how did you manage that? Corvo. Shadow clone, I can see what my clone can see, but it's only used for observation and fast teleportation to get around, not for fighting. Raphia. Amazing ability. Seraphil. Yay, but guys, I know we should wait for Shin to come back, but what do you think we should do with the devils that want to come this side after the war? Corvo. I don't know, it's not our place to decide anymore, it's theirs. He tapped the table and a projection of Shin and the others appeared. Corvo. Hess the one calling all the shots now, whether we like it or not, it is ultimately his decision now, and the others will follow his lead. Seraphil. It's going to be weird not being in power anymore, and my choice had a moving matter, but I'd like to see what happens, you know. Raphia. But she should try our best and support Sona, she is a monarch now, and being part of the generals is a big role. Then Alana. I'm sure she'll figure it out, we all did, but I do suppose now is time to let them grow up, don't you think we can't protect them forever? But Shin and the others. Shin. Well, there it is. They all looked forward and saw a massive island with a mountain shaped like a cake. Saji. I don't know whether to be surprised, that whole cake looks like a cake. Azazel. That place is massive. Surziches. How have we never explored this much of the underworld? I've been a devil king for about 30 years now, maybe more, but my god, what is this side of the world? Shin. I have no idea, man, let's just hope things go smoothly here, maybe we can see what the celestial dragons are like and see what we up against. They nodded and got ready to embark on the island, anticipating anything that could and would go wrong. Life 23. Whole Cake Island. The group arrived at the island and they were happy their ship wasn't something fancy. They docked and got off and saw the people living on the island. Much of the first town they found was normal looking, besides the fact they were candy themed. Shin. So I'm no the only one feeling out of place. Azazel. No, I think to hide your rings, Shin, don't need others getting leads about you and your connections just yet. Shin. Yeah, you're right. He took off the rings and put them in his gauntlet. They decided to walk around, no one really paid mind to them, but they did blend in well enough. Man. Oh man, before I forget I better get ready for the separation. MAN2. Yeah, I've been ready all week now. You know, when the tides rise the island spits into nine and food becomes scarce. Last time was tight and my family nearly ran out of food. Hopefully that demon doesn't go on a rampage this month. I just fixed my house to the way I wanted. Man. Same. Both shuddered and carried on with their day. The group sat down at a coffee shop and got something to drink. Shin. So the island spits into 9 separate islands. Weird. Saji. That's the least of our problems. What demon was he talking about? Azazel. One thing is for sure, there's something off about this place. People being this happy when their lives are constantly disrupted doesn't seem so good, don't you think? Surzix. How about we just keep exploring around to see what we can find about celestial dragons? Shin. I like that idea. How about we split up and see what we can find, and at sunset we meet. He looked around for a large landmark and then pointed at something. Shin. We meet at the center candle here in the town. They nodded and then paid for their drinks, then went their spirit ways. They went around looking for information best they could, and to Shin's luck, someone that runs a bar gave him some information. Bartender. The demon everyone refers to as Big Mom, a giant woman with the appetite to eat this country's clean. Shin. Then why don't you leave? Bartender. Her kids, she has 9 of them, each one runs a town, each one just as dangerous. You clearly an outsider, so I'll show you. He pulled out a pen and a napkin and started drawing. Bartender. You came at the worst time. Honesty, the separation is about to happen. This is caused each month when the water rises for a while and stays that way for most of the month. Sometimes it's gone over 2 months when this happens. The one massive island becomes this ring of 8 islands, with one in the center, making 9 islands. When this happens, our lives go on lockdown for a month. We get 1 week out of each month if we lucky. To prepare for the worst when the water rises, we spend that week just building up stock best we can, but each of the 9 kids demands more from us during this time because they know we don't have much to give or do, and if we try and leave, they hunt us down for sport and kill us, claiming they don't want their people to leave them. Shin. Damn, this place sounds horrible to live in. Bartender. On the contrary, it's not as bad as it seems. Fishing jobs increase and fish prices drop, but that's not what you're referring to. We know we're stuck here, but as long as we do our part and do not upset the kids and Big Mom, then we live relatively peaceful lives. Shin. Still, I'm sorry you had to live this way, but can I ask you one more thing? Bartender. What is it, lad? Shin. I'm looking for celestial dragons. He could instantly see the fear on the man's face. Bartender. Now why would you go looking for them? They aren't anything to really deal with. Shin. Really? Bartender. When the dragon clan fell to the devils, it's been hell since. They were not even worth a damn to fight back against. They have this boost of magic power that we can't seem to grasp. It's a real pain if they want you as a salve. Shin. I see, but if I told you they are fake and have no power, would you believe me? Bartender. I don't know, kid. I know there are some strong people out there. I wouldn't be surprised if you were one of them, but still it is business I'd rather not get into. Shin. How about a deal? Bartender. That's drinking words right there. What do you have in mind? Shin. Can you get the people together and start a protest? Bartender. Protest against what? Shin. Big Mom and the celestial dragons. Bartender. My god, what do you plan to do, kid? Shin. Kill them. They ruined the lives of so many people, and they ruined the name of the dragon clan. I'm here to fix that. Bartender. Now let's say I do as you ask. What's in it for me? Shin. Want to join the real dragon clan where you can live free and do as you please without anyone breathing down your neck? Bartender. That sounds like a dream come true. How about I meet you halfway in the middle? I'll get the protest going and draw out Oven, the 7th son of Big Mom, and the celestial dragons and their brats. If you can take them out with little to no problem, when the separation happens, neither of the siblings talk to each other and only report to Big Mom, but only if they have a problem, else they leave her alone. Handle this town, then I'll follow you as my new king. Shin. Sounds like a deal. If I can't, then I'll pay you enough to cover you financially for a year. Bartender. Sounds fair. We risk our lives here. Shin chuckled and then left and went looking for Oven and the celestial dragons. He had a few hours left and decided to see what was going on. He hid in plain sight and watched the people around him. He then saw someone dressed in a white robe, and the people were bending over backwards for him. The man was one of the ugliest men he'd ever seen. He even made his old friends look like models. Shin. My god, what am I even looking at? That is a man. Greg. Perhaps a side effect of the boost of power you were warned about. Shin thought about it and wondered about something. Shin. Don't think so. Look at the younger ones, just as bad. This has to be genetics. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the after effects of inbreds. Bryag. Well, gauging his power level, he's not that far off a mid-class devil. Shin. Looks like we can still gauge them as devils. I didn't even think about that. Greg. What would you do without me, huh? Shin. Probably be dead actually, but I need eyes on Oven. These fools are useless right now. He then felt hard thudding and saw a large man that towered over most of the people, even towered over Shin himself. Shin damn bigger than me. They watched a man sit down next to a group of celestial dragons and they were all laughing. Shin. Well, I have what I wanted to see. He took off and went to the meeting point where the others were already waiting for him. Shin. Alright, one at a time shoot. Surziches. The island split into 9 different islands for most of the month, then that would be our best time to start what we need to do. Azazel. I got that too, but each island is controlled by one of Big Mom's kids, whoever she is. Saji. She's a big person like Hancock and has similar power over people, but I believe it might be more. I've seen people happy to meet Hancock, but towards Big Mom, people seem terrified of her and her kids. Shin. Yeah, that works, I got all that too, but look at this. He showed them the layout of what the islands roughly look like. Shin. We are here, the kid we going against is Oven. Big Mom has 8 kids that each run a town, so I made a deal with someone to get a protest going as a distraction, then we go ahead and attack them and get more information out of them. Surzix. A bit reckless, don't you think? We don't even know what celestial dragons are capable of. Shin. I found a few along with Oven, he's the only threat as it stands, only ranking in at a normal high-class devil. The celestial dragons only have more power and are about mid-class if you put them all in a spectrum. Saji. That means they really are nothing to worry about, but for others, I can see the massive power boost, don't you think? Shin. My point exactly. Bells ringing. They watched as everyone started moving to their homes and they could see the water begin to rise a bit. Shin. Looks like our mark is coming up, let's see how much water takes over this place. They nodded and got ready. They jumped into one of the tallest trees on the island and watched as a large wave then started to bring more water in and the island began to sink below the water. Shin. My god, this place is weird. Azazel. Couldn't have said it better myself, but now it looks like we cut off from the other islands. Shin. Good, they don't talk to the other siblings and Big Mom during this time, so we need to handle Oven fast. They nodded and waited. As the sun began to set, the bartender held up his side of the deal and started a protest with a handful of people, and they caught the attention of their targets. Oven and the other celestial dragons started coming towards them. CDE. What is this filth doing slandering our name like this? Oven. I'm not sure, but it won't be for long. He burst out laughing and was about to hit them with a fire attack, but he was flung backwards and the crowd gasped. Shin and Saji stood with horns out and the celestial dragons got ready to hit them with their power. CD2. Oh, what, this 2 brave souls trying to prove a point, this is where you die. Shin. Oh, think it's going to be quite the opposite. Shin used his Zeton, causing red clouds to surround the island and he held them down to the ground. The onlookers could only watch as Shin and Saji walked closer towards them. Shin. Tell me something, what gives you the right to do everything you're doing now? CDE. We were born of the Dragon Clan and sided with the devils, we can do as we please. Shin. Shut it, I don't remember permitting you to speak, you're fakes, we know the celestial dragons are nothing. CD4. You the liar. Shin slammed down on the ground and turned into a massive dragon, causing more lighting to spread around the island and this time causing everyone to kneel before him. He let off a massive dragon screech, scaring everyone. He raised all the celestial dragons and started pulling their bodies in all 4 directions slowly. Shin. Tell me where you get off using my clan name like this. Neither of them could speak. Shin. Where's Mingo? CD5. Crying, please don't hurt us, we are sorry. Saji then turned into a dragon smaller than Shin and poison started to spread around them, slowly killing them. Shin. I said speak, where is he? CDE. Crying, Hess back in our homeland where the rest of us live now, please don't kill us. With one pull, Shin ripped them into pieces and turned back to his human form, letting go of his Zeton. Shin. Everyone listen up, there is no reason to fear us. I'm the current king of the Dragon Clan, neither celestial dragon was part of the clan, we are here to bring back the balance and kill the devils. Is that so, brat? They watched as Oven came running towards them, but Surzix and Azazel cut him down and broke his neck. More of the people gasped to see the old Devil King and the old Governor General of the Fallen Angels helping them, especially after seeing the news about all of them. Surzix. I suggest you follow us, you saw the news, you know what we are capable of, this is the real deal. Azazel. The devils are drunk with power and we going to put a stop to it and bring back the lives you so wish for. Bartender. You held up your end of the bargain, I made a deal and I'm a man of my word, I'll join you and your clan if you would have me. He and the other group that were protesting with him kneeled in front of him and Saji. Shin. Relax, you don't need to be that formal with me yet, but go to these coordinates, it can be your new home if you tired of this place. Civilian. What do we get if we join you? Shin. The power to protect your families and a better life where you won't need to worry about people like the celestial dragons making you slaves and Big Mom terrorizing you as it stands right now, that's all we can offer." They started murmuring with each other, then all kneeled for him. "All. Guide us to a better future, please." "Saji," whispered Dang Man, "you make this look easy." "Shin," whisper, "I'm shitting myself right now, never done this before." All the civilians then stood up and looked at him, ready for anything. "Shin. All right, set sail and head to coordinates I gave you, won't miss it. Now we need to go clear off the rest of the islands. You can leave and dawn, or now if you wish." "Bartender. Is there someone that we need to go meet when we get there?" Shin nodded. "Shin. Yes, one of my fiancées, you should know her, Bo Hancock, she will help you get settled in." Civilian man. "No way you have her under your thumb." Shin. "Yay, now then I hope to see you on our island, we have a war upon us and it'll be damned if we aren't ready." They all gave him a cheer and then the four took off to the next island. As they landed they went to work immediately. The child of Big Mom wasn't anything this time, she was easy to handle, and the celestial dragons weren't anything else to worry about. They kept climbing up the islands and on the fourth one they decided to take a break. Shin. "Okay, that leaves us with 4 more left, and what we learned from Brule over there, Perispero, Katakuri, Cracker, and Smoothie run the rest of the last islands." Brule scared. "Please let me go, I told you what you wanted." Saji. "And let you go tell your mother?" "Hell no." Shin. "Hess right, and you going to take us straight to your brothers then your mother?" Brule. "Scared, and why would I betray my family?" Shin. "You dealing with a real dragon clan now, we don't take lightly to liars, so when I say we will kill you anyways, then it's a promise, understood?" She was shivering with fear. Brule. "Scared, fine, just don't kill my brother Katakuri, please." Shin. "Why?" Brule. "We can appeal to your better nature and join you and add to your forces. Mother hasn't been doing anything to sort out the celestial dragons and keeps putting it off when they spread like vermin." Surziches. "And if you lied?" Brule. "Then you can kill me, the rest of us can at least try and become allies, but my eldest brother Perispero is a different story." Azazel. "How so?" Brule. "Hess easily manipulated my mother and is at her beck and call at any point." Shin. "Then let's see what happens tomorrow." They nodded and got ready to sleep in the makeshift tent setup. Before Shin went to sleep, he wondered what was going on back home. Back on the Dragon Island. Bakari. "Okay, you understand your basics, right?" They all nodded. Bakari. "Okay, I'm not the best teacher, so hopefully things will be better." Rias. "Lead the way." They all made their way to the nest and all stood ready. Given it was late at night after 2 days of training, Sayuri cast a bright light at the bear and it wasn't fazed by the attack, but it then looked at them. Minimi then used water to try and distract it, and Rias, Akeno and Akari flew into the air and then sent an attack down towards it again. It wasn't fazed by the creature, they were at a loss, they didn't understand what was going on. Corvo. Locke was the most protected beast to come from their parents, it wasn't hurt by basic attacks, and he actually helped train with us given his strength. Is he gauging their strength? Wilcock then raised an arm and made a swipe at the girls in the sky, and Gasper and Kiba went to catch them, then Kaneko and Mira flung a few rocks at Locke to try and get him to look away and let the others get away. Zone Tsubaki, Momo and Kaneko away to catch the others before they hit the ground. But Locke just hit the ground and large glaciers of ice formed Rias and Kiba melted it away, giving them some breathing room. Bakari. "I don't get it, him using attacks I know cause some sort of effect on enemies and now it's not even phasing it." Rias. "Even with us we've never seen anything like this." Locke took a deep breath and covered himself with ice and went to sleep. Sona. "I think we going to need to try a new form of strategy." Irina. "Aw man, I wish Newt was here to help us." Bakari. "No, we won't call him, he's doing the more difficult task for us, we can't bother him with this, we are meant to be his mates and his trusted family, we need to handle things without him or we could face the same fate as our parents." Rias. "How about we ask Uncle Corvo for help?" Mira. "Don't think they will be viable anymore, he's super weak now and it's late if we disturb him now, what he did to Saji the other day will look like he was being graceful." Kiba. "How about we sleep it off and try again in the morning?" They nodded and went to sleep. But Shin the next morning. Brule. "You letting me go?" Shin. "We have our plan, even if you try and warn them our plan won't fail." They cut the last of the ropes and she jumped into a mirror and ran to Katakuri, who was with Cracker, Perispero and Smoothie, who was with Big Mom. Perispero. "Sister, why do you look distressed?" Katakuri ran to her to check on her. Katakuri. "Serious, who hurt you?" She started crying. Brule. "Crying, the real dragon clan is here killing us off and the celestial dragons that were visiting, they tied me up and beat me to get information out of me, I'm sorry, I told them things." Linlin. "Brule, you gave the enemy information on us, how can we trust you now?" Brule. Crying, no please mother, don't say that, I told them we can be allies and they considered it. Smoothie. But what did they want from all this? Burlee. Crying something about killing every last celestial dragon, ruining their clan name. Hatakuri held her to try and calm her down. Hatakuri. Mother, should we speak to them? Linlin. Let them come, they won't be any match for me. She started laughing, the building started shaking. After an hour the environment felt off, it was too quiet and peaceful. Hair Sparrow. Dear mother, perhaps they were in over their heads. Linlin. No, they most certainly know what they're doing, I can feel people on all the other islands starting to leave the surrounding islands. Hatakuri. If that's the case, then let us go and kill them. He got up and he felt a strong presence, and it was an angry one. Hatakuri. Too late, they hear. They heard a slice sound and the roof was sliced off, and 2 dragons looked inside the room they were in, and they all 4 landed inside and looked ready to fight. Hatakuri and his sibling then all started attacking them, but Shin forced them to the ground and they couldn't get up. Linlin. Ma, you boys seem to be causing us some problems, don't you think? She closed her hand and they saw the black lightning, and neither of them were fazed by it due to Shin countering it all for all of them. Shin. Nice trick, but mine's better. He released all his Zeton and forced all of them to kneel in front of him. Shin. Now then, Burlee over there said you might consider being allies with us, but so far I'm not seeing anything worth working with, I think death would be a better fitting for this family. He brought out his sword, and they could feel the massive amounts of power leaking off it, more than they had ever felt. Linlin. Indeed you are the Dragon King, I haven't felt such powerful Zeton since the fall of your father a few years back. Takui. Mother, shut it, you going to get us killed. He tried to get free, but it wasn't helping, they were pinned. Shin. Who said anything about killing you yet? He forced them face down into the ground and then brought them back, and he brought Big Mom closer to him. Shin. What do you know about that night? Linlin smiled. Linlin. Indeed I was there when your father was killed, he was an arrogant man, you on the other hand seem different, I can see that anger behind your eyes. Shin. So what if I'm angry? Linlin. Dragons run on emotions, isn't that right? What if I told you that the celestial dragons are using the dead bodies of your current group parents to power themselves up? They were all shocked to hear that information. Shin's Zeton grew more volatile, and they could feel the pressure on their bones threatening to snap. Linlin. There we go, I knew I could get under your skin. So many thoughts ran through Shin's head, then one thing rang in his head. Hendrik. There's no need now, remember what I said, there is no line, you're the master of fire, now use it, now tell me who are you? Shin. Shin Issei Haidu, son of the master of fire and water, married to the daughter of the masters of wind and earth. Hendrik. And. Shin. The Dragon King. Hendrik. Sorry, I didn't hear that, you're weak, what? Shin. I am the bucking Dragon King. Shin then took a deep breath and his horn began to grow, then he used his Zeton with his hand to start choking Linlin, which was more of a struggle for him due to the size of her neck. Shin. You may be able to get under my skin, but I'm saying it now, I'm not going to mess around like my father. She tried to move her arms to get him to let go, but it wasn't budging, they all heard an audible crack and then he dropped her and her body lay there. Azazel. Okay, who's next? The 5 looked at them like monsters. Hatakuri. Wait, I'm sure my sister told you we would listen to you and hear you out. Saji. And if she did? Hatakuri. Us here will join you and get you to the next island where you would want to be at. Cracker. Hess right. Smoothie. Indeed we don't want any hard feelings, we know and spoke about leaving ourselves. Hatakuri. Besides this idiot brother of mine and the others, they were determined to stay with mother. Surziches. So what you saying is you will follow us into battle then? Hatakuri. If so be then we shall, we grew up on adventure and traveling, so this would be a great way to show our respect. Shin. Seems like you're telling the truth. Hair Sparrow. I refuse to follow some brat's leadership, mother was the best, mother will be the only person I follow, I slice. Within seconds, his head was severed from his body and the rest of his body was burnt away into nothing. Shin. Betray us and we will leave you like that faster than you can blink, understood? They nodded and they were let go, and Shin walked over to Linlin's body and took her rings that seemed to be able to create living things out of souls. Hatakuri. As the now eldest and strongest son of Charlotte Linlin, I swear to keep my siblings in line, but be warned, those rings you took use your own life force, if you're not careful the only way to regain that life force lost is to consume the souls of others. Cracker. I can attest to that. Smoothie. Yes, I agree with that as well. Burlee. Same with me. All 4. We swear. Shin. Alright then, let's go, I have a plan for these already, here Saji, master of darkness, take them and consume the souls of the dead. He gave them to Saji. Saji. How do I do this? Cracker. You should be able to pull the soul out from the dead body and even the live body and then either consume it or have it become an inanimate object that will do your bidding. Saji focused on Bogmom's body and pulled her soul out and it was massive, angry and violent. He then pulled it closer to him and forced it into a sword and it was glowing, then it grew a face and spoke. Sword. Let go killing. Saji. My god, that's creepy, is there a way to make this not talk? Smoothie. Not that we know of, but over time they become accustomed to being used as you wish. Saji. Then I have a learning curve. Azazel. I'll help you figure it out. Shin. Let's go, we have another island to destroy. They got up and followed him, leaving their mother's body behind. As they left the main building, all they could see was the large amounts dead bodies made up of the guards that fought back and their siblings' dead bodies, and then the mutilated celestial dragons' bodies as well. Saji then consumed all the spirits and they carried on walking towards Big Mom's ship. Hatakuri. My god, this is worse than what I could ever achieve. Shin. They pissed me off by speaking. Cracker. Remind me to stay on his good side. Saji. Oh wait, before we get on, let's see soothing, I can use this here. He touched the hull of the ship and it went from a pink-looking ship with a few cakes to something more like a battleship with red and purple accents that was prepared to kill off anything. The flags then changed to the Dragon Clan flags and insignias. Shin. Fitting. Saji. Yeah, the ship has a soul in it so I could manipulate it a bit. Shin. Now then, let's get to the Marijua. Hatakuri. We'll follow you. They once again set sail, leaving the island in ruin. Whole Cake Island was no more. A few hours after they left, someone arrived at the island, saw the damage and went searching, looking at all the damage. He took photographs and sent them to his boss. A man with white hair received the photos and saw the damage. Seems like they make a move, volley front and center. He came and kneeled in front of him. Go to Marijua, someone is going to attack one of our upper hands, the celestial dragons. If we lose them, then we stand a chance of failure. There are relics there that will tip the scale in our favor. Ali. Understood. But if you succeed, then perhaps you will be let back into the family. Take your team and go, you better not disappoint. Bali nodded and walked off. Ajuka. Well, it seems they are aware of what is going on at Marijua. Whole Cake was the closest inhabited island. You better keep tabs on your devils, I don't need your incompetence ruining years of planning and waiting. Ajuka. Yes sir. He quickly got back to work and started reviewing the footage he got. Ajuka. Issei, Shin, whoever you are, what do you know that we don't? This power you have now doesn't seem possible, granted that you are only probably gaining the rank of the Dragon King. You have a lot of ways to go before you can hinder our power. Life 24. Island life. On the Dragon Island, the group now stands in front of a layout of the given area where Locke was. Bakari. Okay, so if we try and attack from here, then perhaps we could get the bear. Rias. Fair, but look at it from here, moving along that line long enough might just trigger the other nest nearby. She pointed it and she was right, it wasn't too far away, and with all the commotion, then it would cause problems if another nest had to attack them. Sayuri. Maybe, just maybe, if we get Kaneko and Mira to build a barrier and change the terrain a bit, then maybe they won't be bothered. Sona. Not a bad idea, so then we would have that added advantage because we will be ready for that area change. Arena. Okay, so we all agree those of us who prefer aerial combat will stick to the skies, and those of us who want to be on the ground should be ready for another glacier attack from it. They all nodded. Hiba. What about this spot here? As they were discussing their plan of action, Corvo could be seen in the shadows watching them. Corvo. I suppose they need to learn the hard way. The young Locke is only going to be tamed by Shin at this rate. They can try all they want, the other nests will be easier. Maybe not that one of my brothers, but it's good that they persistent on getting Locke to go down. But I wonder if Minami steps up to tame it. It was her aunt's pet. Everyone look here. They looked to the side and saw one of the tribe women come running with a newspaper, getting everyone's attention. Hancock. What's the problem? Girl. Look, Lord Shin and Saji have taken over Whole Cake Island. She showed the photo and saw the four of them handling the island with the title big of who is he and why is one of the former devil kings with him and the governor general of the fallen angles with them. Little do they know this reached everyone, including Heaven and the devil faction. Mitchell. So, it looks like we have a new player in the mix. They seem to making strides, don't you think? Gabriel nodded before she spoke. Gabriel. Indeed, Shin seems to be bringing the Dragon Clan back from the grave, and looking at the extract, the one next to him must be the new Master of Darkness. They speak about how he used shadows. Toji. That means my daughter is with them. Then she was with the Gremory family last I saw of her. Mitchell. Indeed, it looks like the outcomes are set. It's our duty now to proceed with the group we believe to have the most probable outcome to win. Let's see where the new Dragon Island is. I haven't seen it since my younger days. They all began looking for it so they can go and meet the new king. But the devil faction in the Bale territory, Sererg was reading the newspaper and was happy to see that his hunch was correct and that it's Issei still fighting back. Sererg. Let's see if my peerage can get any information on the Dragon Clan news, and if memory serves me correctly, Amazon Lily was where Issei was sent a year ago. Perhaps I should go pay it a visit. He put down his tea and got everything ready, moving the last bit of the family in the event with his absence. Something would happen to them, mainly his mother, who resides in an eternal slumber. In the Phoenix territory. Ravel had a smirk on her face, showing Riser and Ruvel the paper. Ravel. Hopefully we can still join him, things seem to be moving the way we thought. Riser. Then we need to find the new Dragon Clan territory. Ruvel. Wasn't Issei sent to Amazon Lily not too long ago? Ravel. Well, it's a start. Back on the Dragon Island. Race. I don't believe it, they actually did it. Rafia. Well, that means they are good and we don't need to worry about anything, yet they seem to be working hard. I suppose your group is next. Have you handled that bear? All of them started looking despondent. Bakari. No, there's something up about that bear, it's not even in the books. Uncle Corvo, are you sure you don't know anything about it? Corvo shook his head. Corvo. No, these are new, I've never seen them before. Mini-me sighs. Well, let's go, it's water-based, so I think this time I should take the lead along with Sona. Akeno. Before we go again, how's development been going? Sirafal. One city is known as Pyrrhus capital, has been rebuilt to a decent extent, most of Hancock's people have already moved in for the time being. Hancock. Then let's not forget the gate system around the island that is also going, but we only have 2 gates open, the one in Pyrrhus capital and then the one by that ice bear. Bakari. Don't worry, we will get it sorted. They all nodded and went to do their duties. But Shin and the new crew. Hadakuri. So how long have you been the Dragon King? Shin. About a year now, fully active maybe about a week ago. Cracker. Talk about jumping into the deep end. Shin. Tell me about it. Hadakuri. I know we are on guard watch, but I have a question. Shin. Shoot. Hadakuri. Why spare us when you have full capability of finishing us off within seconds? Shin. I don't know, your sister appealed to my better nature. Cracker. Fair trust is something, this isn't something to easily come by these days. Shin. Exactly, which is why I don't let people in so easily these days. Hell, it's been a wild few days. He looked forward. Hadakuri. Would you let us join the clan? We've done nothing but conquer as part as mother's group. Shin. I'll have to see, right now I don't have the capability of turning you at this moment. They both nodded. Cracker. Suppose we could be your wardens and generals when needed. Shin. Got the covered, the redeed with me as my general, each affinity has one to my knowledge, so mine, and there's only Terra and Darkness left. If you want to be a general, plus you don't get to pick the way it works, you'll only get a chance to pick from the options it gives you, like I have a Black Knight and excellent swordsman as well. Hadakuri. I see, so we will only know our new roles later on. Shin. Pretty much, so don't get your hopes up just yet. They nodded and sat in relative silence despite the sound of the wind ringing in their ears. Shin. I wonder what this Doppelmingo is like. If he's anything like the rest, then I don't think I have much to worry about. I wonder how the family is doing back home. A few hours later, back on Dragon Island, the group was spent and hurt. Locke actually beat them this time, and badly. They all sat in the infirmary resting and healing. Asper. How about we change the nest we going to? Maybe if we find an easier one, then maybe we could either find something or learn something to help us with the bear. Bakari. I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Lanami. Couldn't agree more. Sayuri. Yeah, hopefully a different nest would help a bit. It's like going up against a main boss when you level 1. Mira. But I'm surprised Minami and Sona haven't done anything yet. Minami. What do you mean? Mira. It's a water monster, isn't it? So wouldn't you be able to stop most of that ice attack before it can set it off? Sona. I tried myself, there's a weird feeling when we're in that area, I feel stronger, but at the same time that bear is irradiating so much power, it's monstrous in nature. Corvo sipped his tea listening to them speak in the distance. Ernest. You know something, don't you? She had a teasing look on her face, and he nodded. Corvo. Perhaps I do, but it's for them to learn and figure out. They don't realize it yet, but they're getting stronger, way stronger than when they got here. Ernest. Want to tell me what you know? I wouldn't tell them, I understand what you're trying to do with them. Corvo. There are 6 beasts, each one related to affinity, which was each master's pet. That bear's name is Locke, and he's Shin's mother's pet, and one of the most protected and dangerous beasts to find other than my brother's beast. What they don't know is when Kyoko and Kendrick had Shin, their control over their pets went to the Shin. So it's not going to listen to them or get taken down since Shin hasn't told it to let them win. Ernest. So, each nest is where each beast went to rest, makes sense. I suppose this makes up for what most of them did to Shin, but here's my question, the other beasts. Are they ready yet? Torvo. No, to tame the beast you need to prove to it that you are the new master of the element. I mean, if Minami was stronger, then perhaps Locke would have listened to her as the new master of water, but this is a very big but. She's not ready, and they know this Shin would have a better time taming them for them, which is a good thing he's gone, because he can make them more docile and controllable, because they would see the stronger power behind who is giving them new orders. Ernest. So how long do you think it would take them? She sipped her tea and ate a biscuit. Torvo. Shin might be back and they wouldn't have done much in my eyes. Akari has a decent chance due to her current output, it's stronger than the rest, but she not mentally here, yet she's still thinking back to her old life before Shin. Ernest. Well then let's watch the show, I'm sure a lot of growing for them would happen. He nodded and they enjoyed the rest of the night. The next day they all woke up and were busy getting done for the morning before they either attempted to take care of Locke or moved on to the next beast. They were silent for most of the morning, even during breakfast. It was completely silent besides Milika's, who was learning who to talk. Rias was looking at her phone, then came across a video of Shin before he was banished, and he was singing in the shower. As she started the video they could hear Issei's voice, and it was something they never thought they would need to hear right now. As the video finished they heard Rias speak in the video. Brace. That was a nice one, you sang it well, my love. Shin. Yeah, I've had my fair share of problems, but I need to push them aside and get over them one step at a time, plus just cause something happened today doesn't mean something better is going to happen tomorrow. I've been looking for things that drive me to be the person I want to be. Brace. And what's that? Shin. Well, for starters, my new life with you all. I know I'm a devil, but I still feel blessed to have you all in my life, and I want to make you all proud. That's what drives me to be who I am today. I have something I want to work towards and it'll be damned if something or someone stops that from happening. The video ended because Rias must have realized that she was still recording at the time of the video, and they all sat with Issei's song and words afterwards. Then Alana. Rias dear, where did that come from? Rias. It's a video I took of him sitting in the shower at the time we were sharing a shower and bath, and I was in the bath when this was taken. I remember because the next day we fought with Cockabale. Bakari. I think we needed to hear those words. I think deep down we can all agree we've been leaning on someone to try and help and assist us. 4 of us are meant to be masters of the elements that make up the dragon clan. 2 of us are out making a difference while we here and can't fight one bear. Rias. You're right, we need to get stronger, not just for Shin, but for ourselves. Sure, most of us have new powers we've never had before, but that's no excuse anymore. Arena. I'm tired of feeling weak. I think let's first get a grip on our abilities, then we confront the bear and see how strong we can get while clearing out the other gates. They all nodded, feeling motivated, and they all got up and left. Ernest. Well, looks like even gone, he's motivating those around him. The group stood in front of the lock, and this time Minami and Sona started with something that shocked the others. They created a massive tidal wave, and as it hit Locke they froze it. Akari, Akeno, and Gasper took the skies and created a lightning storm and shocked Locke. Rias, Kibasayuri Arena with Mira and Kaneko made a massive blinding flash to disorient it. Then Momo and Tsubaki covered up with a massive gust of wind, knocking Locke out of its nest. Before they could even retaliate, it did something neither of them could imagine in power. It turned the area around them into ice, and they all felt weaker. Beside Minami and Sona, they felt a boost. Sona. Wait, don't do anything, trust me. She placed her hands on the ground and the ice split, creating a few areas for them to stand and fight Minimi, then provided ice tunnels for everyone to move around. Bakari started ice skating using the wind to boost her speed, then used her mother's spear, and she felt a massive boost of power within her. She then went to one of the ramps, and once she was mid-air, she covered herself with scales and turned into a small dragon a few meters smaller than the bear. The others instantly went to work, and Kiba and Gasper created a smokescreen that was controlled by Momo, Tsubaki and Acneo. Then Akari charged the bear and knocked it down further. But it rolled into a bowl and ran her over with massive ice spikes, but she quickly recovered with her wings and scales, still covering her body similar to Shin. Then Minimi channeled her power boost to try and help, but then scales started growing on her arms, and she did something similar to Akari, but instead of the air, she dived into the water and then came out and used her tail to hit Locke to the side, then turned similarly like Akari, and both stood ready. Waiting for Locke to make its next move. The family was watching and surprised to see how far they got. Even the island woman and the new settlers from Whole Cake came and watched the fight. Porvo. They're running on instinct at this point. Sayuri then started skating in the bowl of ice that surrounded them, and she added her light to it, and she started moving faster and faster till she spun out in her dragon form and created a beacon of light, making Locke look at it. Mira started running towards it and did a spin kick with the earth and hit Locke that broke one of the pillars of ice that locked it down, and as she recovered her scales burst through and she turned into her dragon. Locke set off a massive roar, and all the other beasts besides fire and darkness came running. A massive bird-like creature arrived, a massive bipedal tiger then ran to them and roared at them, then a massive earth monster with 4 arms arrived and shook the earth beneath them. Sona and Arena felt a boost of power from their leaders, and they were able to don themselves in the armor of the monarch. Rias, Kiba, Gasper, Momo, and Tsubaki could feel the power difference. Even Corvo, Sirifal, and the rest of the Gremory family could feel this boost of power. They all stood ready and charged at the beast that turned into Vile, glowing their colors, and went to them. The power immediately dissipated and they dropped their forms and boosts in confusion. Bakari. What just happened? The vials then started floating, then it all went to each of them, and then they turned into small forms of them that seemed way too friendly. Corvo. Congratulations, you activated your powers partly to the point like Shin and my apprentice. You now have your mother and father's pets that they left behind, Locke the Ice Bear, Skyrus the Wind Phoenix, Vertex the Earth Guardian, and finally Tigris the Tiger of Light. They all looked at him. Sayuri. You knew. Corvo. Of course I knew, it's your parents' pets, and my job is to have you grow. What good will it do if I just told you how to handle them? Now look, you are one step closer to perfecting your powers. They were all about to protest, but then Hancock spoke up. Hancock. That aside, we have guests that were found of the coast of the southeast coast. It was a massive group and a lot of them were excited, while others were busy observing the new land they were on. The group ranged from kids to adults to even seniors. Hancock. As you can see, they are the people liberated from Whole Cake. Shin told them to find me with the hopes we have homes set up. Bartender. To be fair, on the way here we were kind of expecting to need to help set something up, so this doesn't seem too bad. It does seem like you have a few houses up. Sirifal. This is just one region. The main region by the volcano over there is about 90% completed and the rest is starting to trickle down. Then Alana. Indeed, but come with us while our leaders catch their breaths. We can show you around in the meantime. They nodded and followed the council group and Corvo stayed with them. Corvo. Remember, those creatures you are holding like pets are dangerous creatures and all submit to the element master or the king. To be fair, I was expecting Shin to come back to tame all these things with the rate you were going at. Mira. Seems like you never had much faith in us in the beginning. They felt a bit sad about it but ultimately let it go and to hear him out. Corvo. Opposite actually, I knew you could do it, just not as soon. Your growth is sporadic. You 3 don't even know Shin at the same level as the others and he motivated you, and now look, you unlocked your dragons in a matter of a week, and then even the ex-devil group, you all got a surprising amount of control for your first times, really using the powers. They looked at each other, realizing that he was right. Within a week they grasped their powers, now was to master it. Rias. Still thank you, but we are still far from being done. Bakari. She's right, we don't even know how to fight yet. I think we can be of service. Sorry we took so long, this place isn't easy to find. They turned around shocked to see just happened to arrive. But Shin, he and the group found themselves nearing the next island. Shin. Is that it? Hadakuri. Yes. Cracker. What are we going to do? Sure, killing them is one thing, but we can't just enter that place. Surzix. Damn it, Hess right, I remember signing off on some higher up protection for them because they were just a pain to deal with. Think back to Riser before you kicked his ass. Shin nodded, then grabbed the anchor and tossed it down into the water. Saji. You better have a plan. Shin. Yeah, here's the plan. We all gonna need to be on our A game, and that's coming from all of you, okay? They all nodded, agreeing with him. A few days before they arrived, Vali and his team arrived on the island. Haruka. The place seems nice, don't you think? Aiko. Yes, seems pretty chilled. They walked around and were met with some guards that stopped them from proceeding any further. Guard. State your business here. Ali. Vali, Lucifer, White Dragon Emperor. I was sent here to speak to Dolamingo. The guards all looked at each other and looked at a few reference photos, then nodded and let them in. Ali. This better not waste my time, that bastard better show up. Albion. Are you sure you're ready? He didn't respond and completely ignored Albion, confident that Hess ready. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.